Never react. Never explain. Just ignore. Stoic philosophy. You don't realize it yet, but the moment you stop reacting, everything changes. The people who once provoked you lose their power. The situations that once drained you become irrelevant. And suddenly, you are no longer controlled by noise, opinions, or chaos. You become untouchable. There is a silent strength in restraint, a dangerous kind of power in choosing not to engage. Most people won't understand it. They'll expect a reaction. They'll wait for you to defend yourself, to argue, to explain. But what happens when you don't? What happens when you simply ignore? Before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because what you're about to learn will change how you move, how you think, and how you dominate your emotions in a world that constantly tries to control them. There is a hidden truth about human behavior. People feed off your reactions. Every time you respond emotionally, you give something away: your energy, your focus, your control. And once that control is gone, you become predictable. Easy to manipulate, easy to disturb. That's why the strongest individuals aren't the loudest, or the most reactive. They are the calmest, the ones who observe more than they speak, the ones who feel everything, but show almost nothing. Imagine someone insults you. Most people react instantly. They defend themselves, argue, raise their voice, try to prove something. But in doing so, they've already lost. Why? Because now the other person controls the situation. They've pulled you into their frame. They've made you dance to their emotions. But the Stoic does something different. He pauses, he watches, and then, he chooses silence. Not because he's weak, but because he understands something deeper. He knows that not everything deserves a response. He knows that reacting is often a trap. And most importantly, he knows that his peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Silence, in this context, is not absence. It is presence. It is awareness. It is discipline. When you refuse to react, you break the cycle. You deny others the satisfaction of control. You become unpredictable, and that makes you powerful. But let's be honest, this is not easy. Your mind will scream at you to respond. Your ego will push you to defend yourself. You'll feel the urge to explain your side, to correct misunderstandings, to prove that you are right. This is where most people fail. Because they believe they owe everyone an explanation. You don't. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone deserves clarity. Sometimes, explaining yourself only lowers your value. It places you in a position where you are seeking validation. And the moment you start seeking validation, you lose authority. The Stoic understands this deeply. He knows that his actions speak louder than any explanation ever could. He knows that time reveals truth better than words. And he knows that silence confuses those who expected noise. Think about it: when someone expects a reaction and gets nothing, it unsettles them. It forces them to confront themselves. It shifts the power dynamic completely. And this is where ignoring becomes an art. Ignoring is not about avoidance. It is about selection. It is about deciding what deserves your energy, and what does not. Most people waste their lives reacting to things that don't matter. Opinions, insults, drama. They are constantly pulled in different directions, never at peace, never in control. But you don't have to live like that. You can choose differently. You can choose to ignore. When you ignore what is meaningless, you create space for what is meaningful. When you ignore negativity, you protect your mind. When you ignore distractions, you sharpen your focus. This is not weakness. This is mastery. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. The more you react, the less respect you command. The more you explain, the less mysterious you become. The more you engage in nonsense, the more you dilute your presence. But when you stay silent, when you remain composed, when you walk away without a word, people notice. They feel it, they respect it, even if they don't understand it, because deep down, everyone recognizes control when they see it. Now, this doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent to everything. It means you become selective, strategic, intentional. You respond when it matters. You speak when it adds value. And you remain silent when it doesn't. This level of control requires discipline. It requires self-awareness. It requires you to separate your emotions from your actions. Because feeling something is natural. Reacting to everything is not. You can feel anger without expressing it. You can feel frustration without acting on it. You can feel the urge to respond, and still choose silence. That is power. That is Stoicism. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel like you're holding back, like you're suppressing something. But over time, you'll realize that you're not suppressing, you're refining. You're choosing clarity over chaos. You're choosing strength over impulse. You're choosing control over reaction. And eventually, it becomes who you are. A person who cannot be easily provoked. A person who cannot be easily manipulated. A person who moves with quiet confidence and unshakable calm. This is the kind of presence that commands respect without demanding it. This is the kind of mindset that separates leaders from followers. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, stop. The next time you're pulled into unnecessary drama, step back. And remember this: not everything deserves your reaction. Not everyone deserves your explanation. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. If you're serious about mastering this mindset, subscribe to this channel. Because here, we don't just talk about philosophy, we apply it. We turn ideas into discipline, and discipline into power. Stay silent, stay focused, stay in control, and watch how everything changes. Now let's go deeper into something most people completely overlook: the illusion of control. You think you're in control because you speak your mind, because you react instantly, because you stand up for yourself in every situation. But in reality, if something external can trigger you at will, then you are not in control, it is. Every insult that gets a reaction from you is proof that someone else can reach inside your mind and press a button. Every argument you get pulled into is evidence that your emotions are being directed by forces outside of you. And every time you feel the need to explain yourself, you are quietly asking for approval. That's not power. That's dependency. The Stoic sees this clearly. He understands that true control is not about controlling others, it's about controlling himself. His thoughts, his reactions, his impulses. And once you master that, something incredible happens. You become free. Free from the opinions of others. Free from the need to prove yourself. Free from the endless cycle of reaction and regret. But here's the uncomfortable truth: most people don't actually want this kind of freedom. Because it comes at a cost. It requires discipline. It requires patience. And most importantly, it requires you to let go of your ego. Your ego is the part of you that demands recognition. It wants to be right. It wants to win every argument. It wants people to see your value and acknowledge your worth. And because of that, it constantly pushes you to react. to defend, to explain, to engage, but the more you listen to it, the weaker you become. Because the ego thrives on external validation, and anything that depends on the outside world for strength is fragile. The Stoic, however, builds from within. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He doesn't need to respond to every challenge. He doesn't need to explain his actions to those who don't understand them. He simply lives according to his principles. And that's enough. Think about the most powerful people you've ever observed. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive, but the ones with real presence. They don't rush to speak. They don't waste energy on trivial matters. They don't react to every little thing. Instead, they move with intention. They speak with purpose. And when they choose silence, it carries weight. Because their silence is not empty. It's controlled. It's deliberate. It's powerful. Now imagine becoming that person. Imagine walking into any situation with complete emotional control. No one can provoke you. No one can shake your confidence. No one can force you into reacting against your will. That is a different level of existence. And it starts with a simple shift in perspective. You stop asking, "How should I respond?" And you start asking, "Is this even worth my energy?" That single question can save you from countless unnecessary conflicts. Because most things are not worth it. Most arguments lead nowhere. Most opinions don't matter. Most people are too caught up in their own lives to truly care about yours. So why give them your time? Why give them your energy? Why give them your attention? When you begin to see things this way, ignoring becomes easier. Not because you're forcing yourself to do it, but because you genuinely no longer care. And that's the goal, not suppression, not avoidance, but detachment. A calm, grounded state where you are no longer emotionally entangled in everything around you. You observe, you understand, but you do not absorb. And this is where your strength multiplies. Because when you are not constantly reacting, you have more energy. More focus, more clarity. You begin to think better, act smarter, move more strategically. While others are caught in emotional chaos, you remain steady. While others are distracted by drama, you stay focused. While others are trying to prove themselves, you are building yourself. And over time, the difference becomes undeniable. People will start to notice. They may not say it directly, but they will feel it. They will sense that you are different, that you are not easily influenced, that you are not someone they can manipulate, and that alone will change how they treat you. Respect is not demanded, it is earned through behavior, through consistency, through control, and one of the fastest ways to lose respect is to react to everything. To argue with everyone, to explain yourself to people who don't even value your words. So if you truly want to elevate yourself, you must be willing to do what most people won't. You must be willing to stay silent when others expect noise. You must be willing to walk away when others expect a fight. You must be willing to ignore when others expect engagement. Because that's where your power lies. Not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. Not in how you react, but in how you choose not to react. And not in what you explain, but in what you allow to remain misunderstood. This last part is especially important, because one of the hardest things to accept is being misunderstood. Your mind will constantly push you to clarify, to correct, to make sure people see you the right way. But here's the truth. Not everyone will understand you. And that's okay. In fact, trying to make everyone understand you is a losing game. Because people don't see you as you are, they see you as they are. Through their own beliefs, their own experiences, their own biases. So no matter how much you explain, some people will still misunderstand you. And chasing their understanding will only drain you. The Stoic accepts this. He allows others to think what they want. He doesn't waste time trying to control perceptions. He focuses on what he can control: his actions, his character, his mindset. And over time, that speaks louder than any explanation ever could. So the next time you feel misunderstood, let it be the next time someone forms an opinion about you. Let them. The next time you're tempted to explain yourself, pause. And remember, you don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to understand yourself. And when you reach that point, when your validation comes from within, no opinion can shake you. No criticism can break you. No situation can control you. That is the foundation of true inner strength. And once you build it, everything else becomes easier. So stay disciplined, stay aware, stay in control, and most importantly, stay silent when it matters most. We've come to the end, but this is where your real transformation begins. Because knowing these principles is one thing. Living them is something else entirely. The world will test you. People will provoke you. Situations will pressure you. Your emotions will rise, demanding to be expressed. And in those moments, you will face a choice: react, or remain in control; explain, or stand firm in silence; engage, or simply ignore and move forward. That choice, repeated daily, is what shapes your life. Understand this clearly. Your power is not in forcing outcomes, winning arguments, or proving yourself to others. Your power is in restraint, in discipline, in the quiet confidence that does not need validation. When you stop reacting to everything, you stop giving your energy away. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you stop seeking approval. When you learn to ignore what doesn't matter, you protect your peace. And slowly, almost silently, you begin to rise above the noise. You become harder to read, harder to manipulate, harder to disturb, not because you've built walls, but because you've built control. This is the essence of Stoicism. Not emotionlessness, but emotional mastery. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of strength. Not ignoring out of weakness, but ignoring out of wisdom. And once you truly understand this, you move differently. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You react less, but your presence becomes stronger. You explain less, but your actions become undeniable. This is how you become powerful without ever raising your voice. So from this moment forward, carry this mindset with you. When someone tries to provoke you, smile internally and stay silent. When you feel the urge to explain, remind yourself that not everyone deserves access to your truth. When life throws distractions at you, focus only on what truly matters. And most importantly, commit to becoming a person who is in control, no matter the situation. Because in a world full of noise, chaos, and constant reaction, the one who remains calm, the one who chooses silence, the one who ignores what is meaningless, is the one who stands above the rest. If this message resonated with you, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because here, we are building something deeper than motivation. We are building discipline, clarity, and unshakable inner strength. Stay silent, stay focused, stay in control, and remember, you don't need to react. You don't need to explain. Sometimes, you just need to ignore.